Good morning, everyone. Okay, how are you doing today? All right. So my name is Anne, and I was once like you, not quite long ago. I can speak loud. So I schooled in FCT, and while I was in secondary school, it was actually when I started developing myself and doing other things. So I know while in secondary school, I was part of a club called SAGE, Student for the Advancement of Global Entrepreneurship. So, in addition to doing maths, English, government, literature, and all of that, I was also actively involved in entrepreneurship. I remember in SS1 was when I joined the club, and then I tried presenting, but I didn't work out as a presenter, and then I moved on to making liquid soap. So it was while I was making liquid soap that my school qualified and we represented FCT and Nigeria in South Africa. Then after that, we continued doing so many other social impact projects, building toilets, reaching out to stakeholders and all of that. So by SS3, I became the president of the club. And I was the president that led the delegation to San Francisco, US. And then we won the Sage World Cup and, put Nigeria on the global map. So after coming back, for some time I wrote jam and then I got admission. I entered school. During our time, it's more like after you've written WAEC, you just wanted to get into school. Any subject they just give you, let me just leave the house and go into school. So that was the level I was. So I got into school. I studied business education. But I was at the point of graduating. I started asking myself, what do I really want to do with my life? And then it dawned on me that I did not want it. Even though I enjoy teaching, I enjoy speaking, but I did not want to teach in the classroom. And so I discovered media. I started using media to create content, doing podcasts and all of that. I discovered event hosting. So today, what I basically do today is I'm a corporate event host. I host events for corporate organizations. I also do communications and marketing strategies for individuals and brand. And I also run a social enterprise called Teens Connect Africa. And what I'm very passionate about, what we do through Teens Connect Africa, is connecting teenagers to mentorship and resources that would help them develop their potential and become productive members of the society. Everything I did while from secondary school to the point I was in university, especially in secondary school, I had a lot of limitations. One of the limitations I had was my environment. So a lot of you are probably growing up in a very tush environment. I grew up in somewhere called Zuba. How many of you know Zuba? So how would you describe Zuba? Is Zuba a tush place? Zuba is like exactly. So I went to my junior secondary school in Zuba. Even while I was in my senior secondary school, it was a day school, so I would go to school, come back. So in that community, there was a lot of social vices. Teenagers were getting pregnant, boys were into cultism, and so many other things. And by the time I was in university, I asked myself, what can I do to help young people? Because I know that a lot of people are living below their potentials. That was how I started the Hangout, and then I built my organization. I'm still building my organization, and that's Teens Connect Africa. So, but the thing I want you to understand is why I wrote Beyond the Classroom was, by the time I wrote it during my NYC with my friend Peace Wajia. I was posted to Lokoja, Kogi State. I served with NTA Lokoja. See, the world would celebrate you when you are able to show value. And the value is not really tied to your certificate or tied to your certificate will give you a platform, but it is what you can do at the platform that you've been given that would make you command respect or even make money come to you. Even though I studied business education, I know every time I find the opportunity, I'm always exhibiting my gift and all that. So it was in the camp while I was doing MC in camp. That was when the Speaker of the House of Assembly saw me, and then they posted me to NTA Lokoja. So normally, people who go to NTA are people who studied mass communication. But I did not study mass communication, but I have been operating in the media space since 2019 till today. So it's so important that as young people, you start discovering yourself. What is that thing? There's a uniqueness you have. There's something in you. The school is just meant to enhance it, to nurture you, to just guide you. But it is still you that would make that decision. So in 2019, we decided to compile what are the different areas that they don't teach in school, but young people should know about. And that was how we wrote this book. My friend and I, we even did a project and then we distributed the books and all of that. So, and I'm so happy your principal has recommended it for you, and for some of you have reached out to me, sent message. Even my partner, she says sometimes people even call her because she's in Port Harcourt, and that's why I'm like, okay, I'm going to come here to see you, answer some of the questions you have, and just let you know that because of the sun, I don't want to talk too much so that we can go out. But I want you to know that every opportunity you have, this is a time to start focusing on yourself. Every opportunity you get, in addition to being serious with your academics, you should also look at empowering yourself. How do I develop myself? What are the things I'm passionate about? What problem can I solve? What skills can I acquire? There's hard skills, there are soft skills. I'm majorly big on soft skills, from communication, speaking, emotional intelligence, and all of that. But there are hard skills of, either acquiring barbing, fashion design, agriculture. There's so many of them, but you need to choose some of them and choose the ones that are in line with your strength. When you are able to acquire skills that are in line with your passion, working becomes fun for you. Like, you can do a lot of work, okay? So, I don't know, does anyone have questions that after reading, a lot of you raised up your hand that you've read the book. So, can I see your hand up again if you've read the book? Okay, all right, bring it. So, how many of you would read the book today, after today? Like, you're committing that, since I've seen the author, I would go back and read the book. Okay. So I like that commitment. So that means I'll be looking forward to your feedback. After graduating from school, from university, I had a level of clarity about what I wanted to do. So I knew that I would speak, I would train, but I did not want to teach in the classroom. Okay, so I had that level of self-awareness. But when I looked around, even core members, by the time I was serving, a lot of core members did not know their left or right. They don't even know what they want to do. You ask them, okay, they say, I'm looking for a job. And you ask, what kind of job are you looking for? They say, anything. I'm like, if you want anything, what I've discovered is, if you want anything, you would get nothing. If you want anything, you would get nothing until you are able to define clearly, this is what I want, this is who I want to become. And you set that goal before you and you work towards it, then you achieve it. So that was what I noticed. A lot of people were confused. So they don't know about purpose. They don't know that, just like you see this building, the building has a purpose. It's for school. You sit in there. This podium was created to elevate whoever is standing on it. Everything that was created has a purpose. So imagine you as a human being. God has created you and put you in Nigeria. There's no way He will create you without a purpose. So there's a purpose for your life and there's a way to discover it. So there's also things like personal development, career choices, how to use social media, how to build relationship, how to build esteem. So these are the things I noticed that a lot of young people did not know about, and they don't teach it in classroom. I had to discover them on my own. I was reading, while I was in university, I was reading a lot of other books that were not novels. I was reading personal development books. It was more like you would see me with my lecture book in one hand, you would see me with other books in the other hand. When I'm sitting in the lecture hall, where there's no lecturer, I just switched to reading other things. So I was a full-time student. I was also a full-time leader while in school. I was exploring, doing other extracurricular activities. So that was what expanded my mind. And I knew some things that other people my level did not know. And that was how I said, okay, what can we do? Let's do a project called Beyond the Classroom. Let's put together topics that young people should know about that is not taught in the classroom. And that's how we wrote the book. Okay? Yes, okay. I was expecting that question. So I have spoken about self-discovery.
The question is, how will you discover
yourself?
So listen.
So I think I will answer that question and then I will just close because the sun is getting hot and some of you are not listening again. So there are 4 things I always teach when I teach on self-discovery. I call it DJDE. Can you say it with me? DJDE. So it's a framework for discovering yourself. The first one I talk about is date yourself. When I talk about date yourself, so self-discovery is a process of embarking on creating time to discover what is inside of you. Because there are some things, God did not create you by mistake. Even though your parents might have, they were not expected to give birth to you and you just came. Even a child that was born, in quotes, they say born by mistake. There's no child that is born by mistake. Everybody has something inside of them. So self-discovery is the process of getting to uncover those things. So the first thing is spending time with yourself. We're in a generation where a lot of people are distracted. Social media is a distraction, even though it has its positive effect, but it's a distraction. Sometimes a lot of people are hanging out with friends. For the boys, they are trying out so many other things. The girls, they are gisting, they are gossiping. There are so many things taking the time of young people. It affected me too as a young person. But I was grateful that I had an alternative. So Sage Club kept me occupied. So when I go to school during the holiday, I was in school doing Sage. We would come, we would do projects. So by that time I was exploring. I didn't have a lot of time to be gisting. I had friends, so, but I was not gisting too much and other things. So when I say date yourself, I'm saying intentionally learn how to spend time with yourself. You should be able to ask yourself, apart from my name, you know, when in primary school we used to write composition about yourself, where you say, my name is Mercy, I am from this state, I like rice and beans. Those are not really things about you. There are things that are about you that you ask yourself, what are the things I enjoy doing? What are the things that gets me angry? If I had all the money, what can I do? So by the time you're asking yourself those questions, you write. Another thing you should learn how to do is to write, journal. So the J is to journal. Journaling is writing down, intentionally keeping tabs of yourself. You write down, I enjoy doing this. In the next 5 years, what do you see yourself doing? Ask. When you answer those kind of questions, it is making you self-aware. And then the third thing you will now do is to develop it. So when you discover anything, it has to be developed. If it's not developed, it is as good as crude. Exactly. Nobody uses crude oil. We use fuel because fuel has been processed. It has been refined. So that talent, whatever you discover, has to be refined before it can be used. And the fact that you're not good at, another thing I want to say, the fact that you're not good at something now does not mean you will not be good at it later. When I tried presenting in SS1, I flopped as a presenter. Like every time I train people on public speaking today, and I tell them that I did not start out as a presenter. I failed as a presenter. But today I've stood on stages across South Africa, across Tanzania, Rwanda, Egypt, talking. So, but I was not good at it before, but because I learned it, I paid attention to it, I was building on knowledge. I was developing it. And now it is my superpower, and there are so many people I work with top leaders, executives, they have the fear of speaking in public. They have stage fright. And the last one is the E. The E is to explore. You are young, you have a lot of time, and your time should be spent in exploring. Should I tell you the things I have done from my teenage age to today? Yes. So when I started, there was a time I liked music so much. I had Dixman, I would take from my parents' money, I'll go and buy this. Now people use phone, but then it used to be Dixman. You put your Dix and you're listening to music. I loved radio so much. As a teenager, I used to participate in different radio activities. I won my first BlackBerry Z10 from Hot FM. The presenter got to know me. I was just exploring. So I moved from music. At a point, I was listening to radio, contributing to radio, and then I started making liquid soap. I started making liquid soap from SS1, SS2, even after SS3, I was making liquid soap while waiting for admission. And then one day I went to my auntie's house. My auntie studied food and nutrition. She's a teacher. And then I saw her making peanuts. Immediately I learned peanuts. I came back home. I started making peanuts. I was selling peanuts. And then by the time, I was doing this before I entered university. I played keyboard. Before I entered university, after I finished WIAC, I said, okay, what will I do? I looked for one brother in our environment. I started learning to play keyboard. For playing keyboard, I said I want to learn guitar. I started learning how to make and play guitar. All this happened by the time I got admission into school. I started reading a whole lot. Because if you spend time reading, you're exactly, you're broadening your mind. Not just your book. I was reading there was now a competition I entered in my final year where they said we should read 25 books in that year. And I joined that competition in September, and I told myself I was going to win this competition. And in September, I read 9 books in 1 month. These books are not school books, they are just personal development books. And after reading that book, it was like my mind was filled with a lot of things. And when I'm talking to other people, they're like, wow, how do you know all these things? I'm like, so people don't know this thing. And then I started doing talk show. I will create video, I'll post on social media. I'm quite big on social media, so if you get the opportunity later on, you can follow and check me out. So I'll create content, and that's how my speaking and training career started. So you see that I started exploring with the time you have now. During your holiday, try out things. For some of you in churches, even in church, I started leadership. I know from my church, I was teenage coordinator in Zuba, Dede Zuba. I moved on to becoming Kubwa, provincial secretary. I moved on to becoming regional teenage secretary. All this happened before I entered university. So if you look at yourself, some of you are already in SS3 or you're in SS2. Don't think you're young. The thing is, young people, you feel like you're young, but you will not be young forever. I was speaking to my junior secondary school on Tuesday in Zuba. I went there and I told them, okay, sing for me the song people sing in assembly. And they started singing, parents, listen to your children. We are the leaders of tomorrow. I said, you are not leaders of tomorrow. You are not. Those who will be leaders of tomorrow start leading today. If you're not able to lead yourself today, you can't lead tomorrow. How do you lead yourself? By saying that I will make out time to read, I will read my books. By saying that I want to learn these skills, I will learn the skills. You need to lead yourself before you lead others. So everything you want to do starts today. Okay? So explore. Explore is the last thing. So spend a lot of time with yourself. Intentionally drop your phone sometimes and ask yourself, in the next 5 years, what do I see myself doing? What problem do I want to solve? If I have the superpower to change the world, what change would I want to effect? If you are to be given, so a lot of you are saying you want money, you want money. Money is quite easy to make. Money follows value and problems. If you're able to provide value, if you're able to solve problems, money would come to you. So you also need to always look around. What are the problems people are complaining about? That's what entrepreneurship is. Entrepreneurship is more about providing solutions to problems. Innovation, creativity, it will stand you out. Okay, so I hope that answered that question. And okay. Okay, you will not be young forever. You don't have all the time you think you have. You need to start taking responsibility now. Now is the time you take responsibility. Discipline yourself to read. A lot of people are not reading. If you're able to read, it will put you 10 times ahead your peers. So read. Make sure in all this is I'm doing, I was excellent in my academics. I wrote my WAEC in one sitting. I graduated with very high 2-1 and a whole lot of that. So 2-1 is the grade you graduate from university. So there's either first class, there's 2-1, there's second class, then there's third. So I would say pay the price now. Focus. You may not have, my younger brother is currently writing WAEC. And there was a time he was just complaining. He was like, Mommy, I need a phone, I need a phone. He was talking in the WhatsApp group. I said, guy, calm down. You will get a phone. He was like, all my friends have phone. All of them have phone, but I don't have a phone. That they are in the WhatsApp group, they are talking. I said, calm down. I said, are your friends dying tomorrow? He said, no. I said, if you finish WAEC, will your friends not be there? He said, they will still be there. So there are things there's something called delayed gratification. When you can delay some things, exactly, prioritize your need. What is your priority right now? Is to write your WAEC, to pass your exam, to make it. Phones will come. Money would come. There was a time where while I was in university, a lot of girls were pushing money, buying hairs, buying clothes. If you buy clothes, the highest you wear a cloth is 2 or 3 years. But a book you buy for 1,000 naira, it would change your mindset that in the next 5-10 years, it appreciates. So personal development has an appreciation that is unquantifiable. When you develop yourself, when you develop your mind, the reward is infinite. So I want to encourage you, pay the price, focus, make a decision on who you want to become. So make a decision on who you want to become. Start now and ask yourself, in the next 5-10 years, what do I want to do? Who do I want to become? What change do I want to make? What impact? What do I want to be remembered for? When you make that decision, the next thing is you focus. What are the things I need to focus on? So if I know that I want to become this, what are the people? Look for role models. So the people who are doing this, what have they done to get there? And then you start now. Okay, they are reading books, you read books. Okay, they are learning skills, you learn skills. And then God is definitely going to help you. I would also say, in addition to that, make sure that you have a good relationship with God. It's very important. There are so many people who are trying things by their power strength. I will tell you, I've experienced the grace factor. Having a relationship with God has helped me a very whole lot, but I also do the work. So it's very important. And as you have that relationship with God, you can even ask God, why did you create me? What's my purpose on earth? And He will begin to show you that. I hope this has helped you. That I'm looking forward that in the next 3 years, I'm getting messages from you and saying, I listened to you, and after listening to you, this is what I did, and right now this is what I've achieved. There are so many opportunities for young people. Learn about the sustainable development goals. Look for how to key into that. There's climate change, there's gender equality, there is sustainable cities. Look for the sustainable development goals. Key into it. There are so many scholarship opportunities, global opportunities for young people, but it needs to meet you prepared and ready. All right, thank you very much.